И только если мы будем вместе, мы победим!
Let us emphasize, we are rebelling for life.
This is an economic justice issue just as much as it is an educational issue.
Why didn't I do this a long time ago?
John Biaggi, As I Live and Breathe. You know, I was looking back. I don't know if you remember doing this. I think we did it in Susan's office.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
9 years ago.
Oregon. Right?
It was 9 years ago. I looked it up because I was like, why? I thought I should do this every year. And then I realized, what was like, it probably wasn't that long. But then I saw June of 2013.
Wow.
When I last talked to you about Human Rights Watch Film Festival.
Boy, that's amazing.
It is. How long have you been director of the festival?
Oh, I've been here 23 years.
Incredible.
But not director 23 years, obviously. I've been director for a decade, but yeah, 23 years at Human Rights Watch.
Wow, that's just remarkable, you know?
It is. I've seen a tremendous amount of change over that time.
Yeah.
You know, festivals are done, and now we have all the digital platforms for the last few years because of,
right.
And
if you, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No.
I was gonna just say that I'd be interested. This is a deeper conversation for another time, but you know, if you think about the topics, the subject matter that so many of the documentaries at your festival cover, concerns regarding world hunger, the environment, war, peace, economic solutions, etc. And you wonder how many of these subjects that were in the earlier documentary, say 20 years ago, you know, succeeded or failed, or where, you know, to go back and revisit some of these things, because there's so many of the films are so much of the moment. All, you know, it's essentially true almost every year. It's not like you show typically an old documentary. You're showing things about what's going on in the world almost in real time.
It's true. I mean, it's very true. There's, you know, a lot of the issues, Adam, that, you know, we talked about years ago in that interview, they're still here. You know, I mean, you think of Palestine and Israel, you know, right. Had films on that for 30 years. You know, even issues of Russia, but although the issues have changed somewhat, it's always been about democratic freedoms, and they're still here after decades.
Right.
You know, China, I mean, the same thing, a lot of Latin American countries. And then in the US, you know, it's also the same thing. It's still the fight for democracy. It's always the fight for democracy. And it changes its cloaks a little, it changes its outfits a little, but it's always here with us. And, you know, now we have the hot button issues of today. We have reproductive rights. Right. You know, we have racial disparities. We have the same things that voting rights.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you brought up democracy, and it's never seems to have been so transparent as it is right now, that the delicacy of where we're at, and also, you know, and the danger of it. It's usually better cloaked,
exactly.
To use your expression.
I would say that's absolutely true. I mean, and you know, that of course is due largely to social media. I mean, the reason that things are so much more transparent and that so many more people are reading, or, you know, are seeing these issues, is because of social media. And also you have activists, you know, taking videos all the time, and, you know, the videos out of Ukraine and the videos that you see of protests or police brutality. I mean, these are the kinds of things, 10 years ago, you just didn't find.
Is access is changing filmmakers' experience? Or the journalism is what makes a citizen journalist, for instance, is a thing that almost anybody with a phone and some ambition can achieve that identity, that title, right?
It's true. I mean, citizen journalists are proliferating like mushrooms. There's so many people who can go out there with their iPhone and capture things. But the difference is, I mean, with filmmakers, the difference is it's the long view, right? And building a story and building trust with people, with the film participants, and making sure that you follow their story over many years. And that's what makes a really strong film, as opposed to just, getting something on YouTube that you caught in the moment.
And that's what goes into curating the festival.
Yes, absolutely. We're looking for strong story arcs, very well-rounded film participants, people who you feel them as a person, and they're not just there giving a few sound bites about their condition or what the situation is on the ground. We want the whole thing. We want to see their lives and how they deal with their friends and families, and the struggles they face personally. That's what makes a really strong film. And I think people more and more want the personal. They want to see the personal, especially in this age of COVID, where we've been also fragmented from each other. Mm-hmm. I think people really want to get a strong emotional reaction from someone they're seeing on the screen. And that's what we're looking for in films.
Mm. Yeah. And it's good. I mean, I just want to mention before we get much further that the festival, the New York Festival, the New York Human Rights Watch Film Festival, takes place between May 20th and the 26th. And again, it's a hybrid, correct?
That's right.
It'll be at the Lincoln Center in New York and at the IFC Center, but it will also be available digitally to stream. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, across the US. I mean, that's the nice thing about our digital platform, is it's available to viewers across the US, which has been great for us. And digital has been great for us because we've been able to do that in some other countries where we have film festivals, where we reach people in the middle of the country that we couldn't reach before.
Your audio is going in and out a little bit, not completely.
Is it?
I don't know if it's your computer. I don't know it's a little bit. It seems to. I just wanted to mention it. If you can't, I don't know if there's anything you can do, but so how do you handle the like for any festival, certainly any screening or premiere or what have you, the Q&A is so important. It's so crucial and it's sort of the perk that somebody gets for going. And so how is that handled from a digital standpoint? Because these films, for instance, are the Q&A is really, I think, tantamount.
Yeah, it's tricky,
Right.
For this digital edition in New York, we have not pre-recorded the Q&As. We've done it for a lot of our other festivals, like in London, for instance. We did every single film with a pre-recorded Q&A, but now that we're in person in New York, we are just doing the Q&As for the in-person screenings because they're just stronger. You have the filmmakers are all there, and the participants in the film, the activists, and it just makes for a much richer. In person, you can't beat it in that sense. It's hard to replicate online or in another discussion. So that's how we've gone this year.
I mean, and John, I don't think you're the only one. I mean, I think a lot of festivals are also trying to streamline as much as they can. I mean, it's a tremendous amount of work to put on a festival. You're essentially putting on two festivals when you do a hybrid. So, the idea of, also trying to figure this whole thing out with Q&As in person and doing one digitally, et cetera. It seems like it's just, who needs all that? Anyway, we'll encourage people, if you're in the New York area, to go to the in-person screenings and see these films. I watched last night I got the pleasure of watching Rebellion, which is the opening night film. I just found that really provocative and exciting film to watch. What went into making that? What went into the choice of making that opening night film? I know it's not yours alone, but
No, it's interesting. You know, it's our first ever environmental opening night film at the festival.
oh, really?
Yeah. And I think that everyone felt like, you know, the climate crisis is exactly that. It's a crisis. And it has been always pushed back to, you know, to the second tier on the news, in the media. Something else always comes up that takes over the, you know, what people are tuning into at the moment. But meanwhile, in the background, you know, the climate is falling apart day by day, and we've almost run out of time to do things to seriously change this. So we felt very strongly opening with this film was the right way to go this year. And we're very proud of that. I mean, it is a remarkable film, Rebellion. And it's and it shows also some of the really tough issues that climate activists are facing. You know, it's not just about the climate crisis. It's
right. I
also
was going to bring that up next. Right.
Yeah.
It's really about the freedom of protest, the freedom of speech. I mean, also about that. You're right, because there is and we were talking about democracy and how fragile it is. This is a great case where you can see it in, you know, in the film, which is co-directed by Maia Kenworthy and Elena Sanchez Bellot. Bellot. I need to know how to pronounce that because they're coming up next. I'm going to be talking to them in a few minutes.
I believe it's Bellot. I think it's French.
Bellot. I'll ask Cordelia, who is
I am right.
the great Cordelia. Hey, go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I was saying you're right. The film is really interesting, showing the struggles of a climate movement behind the scenes is what we're seeing behind the scenes of Extinction Rebellion. But the things that are also so interesting about the film is a very honest portrayal of how young people are, you know, demanding, and rightly so, a place at the table for decision making, you know, climate movement, because they've been largely pushed to the sides by the older generation, and you see it in a lot of protests around the world that, you know, young people really want to be at in the driver's seat, and they do deserve that. And also about, you know, structural racism and oppression, climate justice that has not been focused on by the climate change movement, and really needs to be addressed in a more serious way.
Yeah, there is definitely also, I like that the film addresses, it's called Rebellion, and it's the opening night film, and it addresses the frustration of diplomacy. You know, I mean, you know, everybody makes it very clear they're against violence, of course, but but I don't know, you know, this more softer approach to protest is not really making the kind of urgent progress that's needed when it comes to the environment. So you find there is a group of these activists who are being more aggressive, and they're part of this Extinction Rebellion group that is for the focus of the film.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what they show is you need to be forceful. You need to really put yourself out on the line, out there protesting, shutting down the streets, shutting down a city. I mean, they were so successful in London in 2019, Extinction Rebellion. They brought the city to a halt. There were over 1,000 people arrested in those
incredible
day protests. It's really incredible what they achieved. And they got the UK Parliament to declare a climate emergency, one of the first countries in the world to say such a thing, if not the first. And then other countries followed suit after that, after the UK declared this a climate emergency. So, I mean, hats off to them. And it's really something to watch in the film to see how this developed.
The other, I mean, I really, you know, I realize we have a limit on time here. So when I just bring up these couple of films, it's only because it's shorthand. There really are, you can manage, anybody who's interested in these types of documentaries can really, with pretty much see everything quite easily. There's not the kind of overload that you might get at other festivals. It's really a well curated festival, and I recommend people try to see as much as possible. The closing night film, and I only bring it up because I'm also talking to Tia and
Pildes.
What's her first name?
Emma.
Emma, of course, Emma Pildes, with the Janes, the documentary, the Janes, which is the closing night film. It's going to be on HBO, and that is also so incredibly germane at the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, here's a film about this group of women who were just normal citizens and wanted to do something for women who desperately needed an abortion. And they come together in 1970s Chicago, and they create this group that they call Janes. And, you know, women came seeking a safe, affordable, but otherwise illegal abortion. And this group, they would transport them to the abortion providers. They would change cars every few days. They would change safe houses where the abortions were performed. It's quite a remarkable film of beautiful archive material, but also, you know, interviews with these women who, many of whom were speaking for the first time ever about this experience of being part of the Janes and what it's meant to them.
Wow.
We have 4 of the Janes who are.
Oh my God, that's great.
It is. It's really great. So we're going to have a discussion with them and the filmmakers afterwards, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that sounds. I'm coming down to New York for this. Yeah, and I hope it helps galvanize the already kind of the momentum to fight and to protest to again what's going on right now here. So good timing with that documentary.
Absolutely.
People can go to the Human Rights Watch Film Festival website. Just Google it. I understand you can just Google the site and it comes right up. It's remarkable. Just and kind of follow the rest. See what the rest of the slate, and to purchase tickets. Is there? I always forget. Is there a badge which kind of gives you access to everything, or is it just a la carte? Do we know?
It's for the in-person screenings, it's individual tickets.
Yeah, that's right.
And like you said, you can find it all on our website. It's ff.hrw.org. And then for the digital platform, yes, you can purchase a film festival pass, which has a really good discount to see all 10 of the films.
10 films, come on, it's perfect. And again, it runs May 20th through the 27th, so it's like almost pretty much a film a day. I mean, you can definitely do it. Anyway, thank you for coming on. I know you probably are quite busy, so I appreciate you're making the time. And let's try to do this annually now, because I really do want to make more of an effort.
Great, I'd be happy to come on the program annually. That would be really wonderful.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good talking to you.
Same here. And thanks for your, seemed to clear up the audio. I don't know what you did, if anything, but.
I'm sorry. It was bad there for a minute.
No, it wasn't bad. It was just like little, it just sort of would drop a little bit. It was odd. It was almost like, it didn't sound like it was anything external, you know what I mean? Like on your computer or the mic, or I don't know, but it was minor anyway. So, so thank you anyway. Yeah.
Oh, thanks a lot, Adam.
All right.